don't we go backwards for once? Backwards, really fast, fast as we can.
Hey folks, just the one game to review today, and that's Newton by, I'm going to have to read this properly, Nestor Mangon and Simone Luciani, I think. I'm not exactly great at pronouncing Italian names. Now, the first name you probably wouldn't have heard of, but the second name is going to ring a bell with a few of you. He's known for co-designing or designing some fairly complex Euro games that have come out in the past, and some very popular ones. They're hit and miss with me though. First up, I know that he co-designed, I believe, Tzolk'in. Tzolk'in's a pretty cool game. I don't own it anymore, but, you know, I like Tzolk'in. It's fine, so good one there. Grand Austria Hotel's another one on his list. It's alright. It's half decent. Bone dry, but, you know, it functions. I'm okay with it. Then there's Voyages of Marco Polo. Yeah, that's a popular one with the masses, but yeah. Can't get over... There's too much in it that just rubs me the wrong way. So no, not a fan of Voyages of Marco Polo. And then there's, what was it, Lorenzo in the Magnifico. Yes, and I liked that one at first. But then I started playing it some more, and then I started getting a little bit sick and tired of how punishing it was, how useless the yellow cards were, how you saw every single card in every game, which was not exactly great for variety, and just how restricted everything was. You know, you barely had any spaces you could go, and if you got blocked out of them, you kind of were just gone. You know, you were done. It's alright, but I quickly got annoyed with it after I first initially liked it. So granted, the designer name is not the first thing that sprung me onto going for Newton. And in fact, through Essen, I barely even knew it existed. People were going, oh my god, Newton, I want to try this out. And one publisher like sold out of it really quickly in English. And all there was a demo version being done over somewhere near the Asmodee stall. I can't remember who was doing it. And I just barely even gave it a glance. It's like, okay, everyone's going mad over Newton. What's this? It's a box with a picture of an apple on it. Okay, not the most impressive cover. Didn't recognize the designer's name at the time until I did some fact checking. So I was like, okay, why should I care? Then two friends of mine said, you know, are you about to leave the convention? Because this was on Sunday, the last day. I was just about to head off. And they said, oh, have you got time for one more demo? Fine, okay. You know, come and join us for Newton. We've been on about this one as well. It's like, fine. So we sat down, played a 3-player demo of it, and then I specially requested the game. Find out more now. In Newton, you must devote yourselves to undertaking new research and increasing your knowledge in order to become the most highly respected scholar in the world's scientific community. And that's about as much theme as you're going to get on this explanation. Newton is a deep strategic game. You will place your action cards on your desk to perform actions, but these actions will increase their value during the game depending on how you decide to specialize your abilities. Travel through Europe visiting cities, universities and ancient lands, add some books to your bookshelf and learn new things in academic lessons. Experiment your theories together with your students and study the alchemic mysteries. Okay, that's way too much theme for this game. Work hard to provide economic support for your researches and try to gain the backing of the great contemporary masters. Roughly translated, you are playing action cards in order to perform abilities, and these will get more powerful depending on the cards you play. You are either moving your main pawn around the track of Europe in order to visit locations and grant bonuses, or you're moving one of your student pawns on another track in order to again gain bonuses and various objectives. There's also a work track to earn some money and again more bonuses, and there's a bookshelf where you can put books on providing you've met the conditions to again get victory point bonuses. You can see where I'm going with this. Not exactly heavy on the theme, but you are trying to use the various tracks and maps at your disposal in order to gain victory points by a myriad of different means. Of course, the crux of the game comes down to the action cards. These action cards you will place on your desk and the symbol denotes the action, but the more symbols that there are, the more powerful the action is. And after each round, you have to permanently put a card underneath your desk which will count for future actions and make them more powerful. The paths to victory are plentiful, a theme is somewhat non-existent, you might not actually be developing any scientific theories or doing much in the way of consulting with other professors or students, but you are at least gaining victory points, and at the end, that's pretty much the name of most Euro games. So first of all, let's just get the obvious out of the way. That the theme, non-existent. It's not here. You're not visiting students. You're not going around universities or anything. You're just moving things on tracks. Tracks, tracks, tracks. There's always something about those that just like rubs me the wrong way. And the biggest laugh I get from this as I play it is the student track, where you're moving like a pawn across and getting bonuses. You can't go backwards. Okay. What?
Why can't we go backwards?
Your pawn moves forward, but it can never go back. Even when it reaches the end, it can never go back. So if you're wondering what on earth I was getting on with at the intro of this video, that was pretty much what I meant. And it makes me laugh every time, but thematically, what? Students can learn about gravity and astrophysics and all that, but they can't learn how to turn around? I don't know. It's weird. It's just in there for mechanical sake, but yeah, it does make me quite laugh when the students can't go backwards. Every time I play this, somebody is making a joke about that.
Bill and Ted did it.
So that aside, what about aesthetics? Aesthetics are a little bit on the basic side, but they're okay. You better get used to the colour beige, because there's quite a lot of beige around the board here, whether it's the match, well, beige and brown is kind of like your two main colours. You can get blue, red, green and that, but that's mainly player pieces. Otherwise, you're pretty much gonna assume that the main colour in this game comes from the giant apple on the front. Maybe I should actually eat some apples while playing this game, it might make it look a bit better. That's not to say it looks horrible. The component quality is still decent. You've got some decent tokens. You have got these multiple boards, a map board, a track board, your player boards. You've got all these cards. You've got these little tokens for potions and that. So all in all, it's not a bad looking game. It's just maybe a little bit on the bland side and maybe doesn't like appeal to the eye of the beholder as you're walking past. You'll look at it and go, oh, it's another Euro, and walk straight past it. But mechanically, I suggest you get into this game. I'm going to say it right now as a kind of mini spoiler that out of all the games I've played from this designer, this is it's hard to say if Tzolk'in I might prefer slightly to this, but this is definitely either my favourite or second favourite that the designer has done. As I said, not a fan of Polo and, Lorenzo and stuff like that, but I got into this one quite a bit, and that was all just from the demo. When I actually played some proper games of it, it still gave me the same kind of feeling. So why is that on this occasion? Well, firstly, the game gives you a lot of options that don't feel restrictive. You've got this desk in front of you and you play these cards. They're multi-layered, so the top part gives you a bonus and the bottom part is the action symbol. Your starter cards are bleh. You don't really want them. You want them out of the way. So those are the ones that you're going to want to put under your desk in the long run. But where do you get more cards? You've got an action deck which gives you 3 different layers of cards, 3 different tiers, and they're more powerful as you go up the tiers, but you need a greater action in order to actually get the bigger cards. But there's a lot of them, and they've all got different little bonuses and abilities that they give you. They might give you money, victory points, more books, a special power, that kind of thing. And you can get a lot of these cards during the game, or you might just decide to only get a few. You can decide your way. There's so many options on your turn that the game doesn't feel as restrictive as a lot of his other fares. For starters, okay, so I could get some action cards. I could go around the map and explore different locations and get those tiles and cubes on the board so that I can say I visited those places. Do I need some money? Well, I could go on the work track there, do a bit of work, move along there, get some money, maybe get some bonuses if I go far enough. Okay, what else can I do? Well, there's the student board, so I can get a student, choose a track. Which one of the 4 tracks do I fancy? That one. Okay, it branches. Where do you want to go next? Which bonuses am I aiming for? What objective am I aiming for? Okay, well, that's all well and good. Any bonus actions I can do? No? Oh, is it time to put some books on the shelf? You can see where I'm going here. You have a lot of choices. Way more choices in this game than I think any of the other games that he's done has prepared, and that is something I love in a Euro game. Give me options. Don't restrict everything. Don't make it so like, oh yeah, you've got these 3 things in front of you, but you only have 2 things to do, and if you don't get to do both, then you suck. Yeah, it's like, that really puts me off, and I had that problem with Lorenzo. I just felt that my options were so restrictive that it just started to irk me a bit. Here though, whether the options are the best or not, in terms of efficiency, you still feel like you're accomplishing something, and they at least, it's something you can do. You know, I have multiple choices on my turn. What do I want to do? The game is not even that particularly long. You only play for 6 rounds, and it may have been nice to have more than 6 rounds, but it's one of those games that gets exponentially more involved as you go along. You play 5 cards a round, so 6 rounds. Technically, you're playing 30 cards. But as you get more bonuses, as you get more of the bigger cards, suddenly you end up doing more on your turn. So the first couple of rounds are usually pretty quick, and then it starts to slow down a little bit through rounds 3 to 6 as you have more to do and as your cards start giving you more stuff. But it makes you plan ahead. You don't have to plan stupidly far ahead. It's not the most long-term planning, but you know, because you've got to bear in mind you're basing your time on these cards, so you've got to be pretty tactical, especially as new cards come out and you think, oh wow, that's a good opportunity. Maybe I should grab that card. That could let me do something really good this turn. So there's a nice balance of tactics and strategy involved. But yeah, you do want to have some kind of a guiding path here. You can't just willy-nilly go, all right, what do I feel like doing this round? I don't know, just anything really. No, you got to have a goal. So a nice blend. I didn't feel like it was all strategic. I didn't feel like it was complete luck-driven and tactical either. I felt that it got a very nice balance of the two. The game length on the box says about 90 minutes. That's not inaccurate actually. The longest this game should take you is about 2 hours with 4 players with maybe your first learning game or maybe some AP people. We got through our 3-player demo in, I think we played the full amount and we did it in about 75 minutes, 60 to 75 minutes I think, with 3 of us learning the game from scratch. So yeah, you're talking maybe anywhere between 60 minutes to 2 hours, depending on player count and how used you are to these types of games. It's not particularly complex. The rules are pretty well laid out in the book. I didn't have a problem learning it from the book itself. And once you've got the initial sort of rules in set, it's kind of rinse repeat as you do each action. And granted, you won't be able to grasp exactly how well you're going to do on the first game. But the rules and how the turn sequence works, what all the different tracks do, as soon as you get used to the iconography, that's a slight bugbear. There's a bit of a barrier to entry when you got, there's a lot of these bonus tiles everywhere. What do they all do? Well, it tells you in the book, but you are going to have to absorb a little bit of iconography in order to get used to like playing the game. But not particularly complex. This is definitely not what I would call entry level or next step. God blimey, no. But this is about a decent mid-weight level Euro. It's not light, not heavy, just nicely bang smack in the middle. This is the true neutral of Euro games in terms of its complexity. That's a good thing. I think we've kind of hit a bit of a wall with these giant 3-hour massive heavy Euro games at the moment. It's nice to get something a little bit more streamlined and a little bit more sort of easygoing. And I would say, well, maybe streamline's not the word for this one because you have got a lot of bits you can do and a lot of different options, so maybe they could have cut out 1 or 2 things, but you know, nothing feels like it's tacked on. I don't feel like, well, you know, it's good to do the map and it's good to do the student board, but why are we doing this? You know, there doesn't seem much point to that. No, everything kind of fits in place and it's where it needs to be. You can play the game with 1 to 4 players, so yes, there is a solo mode in here, although solo mode is about as bare bones as you can get. It works, it's fun, I've tried it, but all it literally is about 2 or 3, I swear, it's literally about 2 or 3 minor tweaks to the rules, and then you just play by yourself and try and get the most points and see where you rank on the scoreboard. Okay, fair enough. Not every solo mode has to be dedicated and completely new with learning an entire new set of rules. So one thing I can say, if you're wondering about whether you can learn the game or not, try the solo mode. You've got to tweak maybe 1 or 2 setup rules and there might be one other tweak I can't remember. But you know, other than that, the game plays out exactly the same. So it's a brilliant learning tool. If you're just getting the game out yourself and you're thinking, all right, how do I learn this? Well, let's just go for the solo mode. You'll do rubbish, but you'll at least have a good time and then you'll be ready to teach it to more players. It's better than just simply doing a 2-turn walkthrough, And as far as I'm aware, there's no videos on the subject. I don't know if there's one on the website, but there certainly isn't a watch it played or a gaming rules video for this. But to be honest, I don't think you really need one. The rulebook is decent enough to get you going. 1-player game will set you about 45 minutes, I would say, an hour max if you're learning it. So, you know, because you're obviously going to sit there and think, but it's enjoyable. You know, the game is fun to play, although here's the next point on that, and this is kind of a recurring theme I'm seeing for Euro games lately, certainly on recent videos. but player interaction is a little limited. You can't really block each other on the map. You might make it slightly more costly to go past you, but that's about it. On the workboard and the student board and all that, the only interaction you have is the fact that you might get to something before another player does. So kind of like a lot of mini races. You won't really block anyone out of doing something, but you just might get there first. But that's literally it. Your desk doesn't affect other players, you don't steal from other players, you don't directly trade, you don't directly negotiate, you don't directly do any take that actions. It's a very, very multiplayer solitaire. So I would probably say, I suppose it is the recurring meme I'm doing now, so you know, thank you Nostalgia Critic, but yeah, I gotta say, as much as it's an elegant game, playing with more than a couple of players is
entirely pointless.
Pretty much. But one advantage this does have though, over certain other games where that is the case, it doesn't feel like it outstays its welcome even with 3 to 4 players. I did Blackout recently, and believe me, I've had to deal with a few trolls on that one, but you know, that one takes anywhere for like 2.5, 3 hours it can do with 4 players, and it's just, if you're adding time and nothing much else, then I don't want to play the game for 3 hours, I want to play it for an hour and a half. With Dice Hospital recently, I had a similar thing. It was a game that didn't really need to last more than an hour, and with 4 players it made it last 90 minutes plus, and that was a bit too long. Here, as I said, it's about 90 minutes to 2 hours max with 4 players, and it feels decent enough. You're engaged for enough of the game with all the options that you have, with all the tactical and strategic choices that you have, for that 4 players doesn't feel like an unnecessary burden. Granted, yes, like I say, 3 and 4 players, not a lot of point to it. You might as well just play this with 2, or by yourself. In fact, to be honest, as a solo game, it's pretty solid. You get to do all that cool puzzle thinking, you get to try different tactics and everything, but you're by yourself, you get it done nice and quick. But, you know, with 3 or 4, it doesn't outstay its welcome, so maybe not entirely pointless, maybe just a little bit pointless. So all in all, Newton's actually a very solid game. I do wish it just looked aesthetically better. It is a bit bland to look at. You have some colour, but meh. The theme is non-existent. I wish it actually tried to introduce a bit of theme in this game, but no. Like most of the other games in this guy's repertoire, theme's an afterthought, and I wish there was more. But mechanically, it's very sound, very elegant, very smooth. It doesn't feel clunky. You know, it keeps to a decent length of time. I've never had a game go above 2 hours. You know, and it can play a solo mode as well, even if it is kind of bare bones solo mode. So all in all, this has surprised me. One of my biggest surprises of the year. I just thought, well, don't care, glossed over Essen, and that's partially the game's fault because, you know, if a game can catch my eye, I'll give it a look. This didn't catch my eye, either by the name, by the designer repertoire, by the cover on the box, by how it looked on the table. It really didn't catch my eye at all. The only way I even played it is because 2 friends of mine wanted to play a game, and well, they're friends of mine, I want to play a game with them, and it was something new to end the convention with. Thankfully though, it ended it on a high. Newton is a solid Euro game. If you're into this designer or into these sort of Euro games and you don't give a monkeys about theme or aesthetics, then you'll want to grab this one. For me, it's a solid 8. Solid 8, not quite to the levels of 9. You know, things like Teotihuacan and stuff like that, I think outdo this one in terms of engagement and, you know, just general overall package. But solid 8. It's staying in the collection. I'm going to play it solo every now and again, but I'm going to take it to, you know, games nights and show it. In fact, I even might... I've got Portsmouth on board tomorrow. I think I might take it to tomorrow to Portsmouth on board and see how some people like it there. So, big surprise. Definitely, I think, my favourite from this designer. So, you know, maybe hopefully we'll get another game from him that's a bit like that. You know, just, you know, for my personal sake. I know loads of people love Lorenzo, love Voyages of Marco Polo. So it's not like he's a bad designer by any means. He's doing a lot of games that are very, very popular. But this is definitely my pick from his repertoire. So either way, I'll see you on the next Broken Meeple review, whether it's a single one or a compilation one or season 3. We'll find out, because I'm struggling to find the time to learn all the stuff I need to for Season 3. I'm hoping that the Christmas period will eventually give me the time I need, but I'm going to have to really cram into those books. Fitting, really. Yeah, they can study gravity and all that. I need to study the Adobe Creative Suite, so I got plenty on my plate, believe me. So, regardless of whether, you know, it's a bland apple for you, just remember, it's still only a game. Just eat it away and be glad you're at least getting your 1 of 5 a day. Take care, and I'll see you on the next video.